So hi again, let's move things on. Arriving at loading port, there are a lot that should be dealt with. Let's see. Free pratique. Free pratique normally engulfs the procedures required to ensure that a vessel coming from abroad doesn't convey any contagious disease. That is why ships before arriving at port hoist the yellow flag, which in the maritime language it means that crew is healthy, no contagious, and requests to conduct her business at port, quarantine-free. Shoremen are so allowed to board and cooperate with ship's crew for a safe operation. Crewmen are allowed to take shore leave, and so on. The thing is that free pratique was occasionally used to put pressure upon ship and/or her charterers. Namely, the ship failing free pratique clearance was facing fines and delays. Subsequently, on the course of time, free pratique become a condition in the charter party. The various free pratique clauses have exactly the purpose to raise awareness in this matter, and masters to take the appropriate actions, like 1. Master 24 to 48 hours before arrival at port has to submit free pratique request. 2. The request is addressed to port authorities, copying agent, broker, charterers, owners. 3. Always accompany your request with declaration of health and the sanitary certificate. 4. Protest if free pratique is not granted promptly. The absence of free pratique has cost to owners loss of demurrage funds. A ship had arrived and tendered her NEOR as per charter party at a West African port. Master requested free pratique, but same didn't grant it under the excuse that authorities hadn't the means to approach the vessel at the anchorage. The clearance would be taken place at port while alongside. Master neglected to protest against such condition. Consequently, the entire waiting time didn't count as lay time or demurrage. The relevant clause was clear. No free pratique, no valid NOR. Therefore, master should always protest if free pratique is not granted within reasonable time after ship's arrival. So if free pratique is not granted as requested, master has to act as follows. After arrival, send protest by TLX or fax or email, ensure receipt confirmation. In case of doubt, mobilize agent to pursue receipt confirmation. The protest is also lodged in hard copy before ship sails. The purpose of the statement of facts is to describe in detail the cargo operation and port stay events at large. The creditability of the entries is being confirmed by the timesheets of the other involved parties like agent surveyor and terminal representative. In the event that any of the parties do not sign the statement, same must be justified. Nonetheless, master should protest and/or not countersign parties ESOEF. Any objections in times or events should be resolved on the spot by reaching consensus. Any misalignment in the statement of facts leads in hardship to compute the lay time and eventually prolongs payment of demurrage. The Statement of Facts, or SOF, is the second most important document after the NOR. Its function is to determine the lay time used and the length of demurrage if ship is on demurrage. The Statement of Facts covers both ports or any activity under which the vessel is not underway. For instance, STS operations, sampling at anchorage, and so on. Any activity under the charter party should be reported in the Statement of Facts. The lay time is calculated upon the SOF produced by all parties, ship, agent, terminal. Therefore, events recorded commonly in all timesheets should have identical times, that is, hose connection or disconnection times. Delays, stoppages, or any event, which directly or indirectly may affect ship's performance, must be recorded. Agents and / or terminal are obliged to provide reasons about any abnormality whatsoever. The owner, in an abnormality, has commercial interest to know what happened, when it's going to be fixed, and how recurrence will be avoided. In any case, events causing delays must be recorded and reported to owners and charterers. When agent and terminal representative countersign the SOF, their names must be stated along, as well as in all cargo documents. If any of the aforementioned decline to sign or signs only for receipt, then tender letter of protest. In the main timeline of the Statement of Facts, there might be some pieces which may require further clarification. For instance, vessel arrived at 1000 local time and berthed 2300 local time. In the remarks section should be a reason for this span of time. Normally, the remarks concern delays, interruptions, or any event that impair cargo operations to progress in a normal manner. The remarks in the Statement of Facts should be brief, clear, and concise. Do not include assumptions, personal views, rumors, or any kind of unsubstantiated facts. In case you need to extensively refer to a fact, then you may attach a page, identifying it as Attachment to Statement of Facts, dated Voy No. You may also refer to ship's log entries where applicable. In any case, you may also take into consideration the standard phrases below, awaiting at the anchorage cargo or cargo space. Availability as per shore instructions, awaiting at the anchorage shippers or receivers instructions. Awaiting at the anchorage berth availability as per shore instructions. Important notes. 1. Anchorage is the delimited area specified for tankers. Usually such areas are identified as tankers anchorage or dangerous goods anchorage. 2. In case there is no suitable anchorage, that is deep waters, then refer to dedicated drifting area. Several notes may concern the delays at berth prior sailing, like awaiting cargo surveyor to commence tanks inspection, awaiting cargo analysis results, awaiting shore to commence loading, awaiting shore readiness to commence discharging, loading/discharging interruption on shore order, awaiting cargo documents, awaiting outward clearance. In the event of losing your turn against the widely accepted rule, first come first serve, you may write it in ES of F like. Quote, on the day of month and year vessels, priority disregarded to a later tanker. Seamaster's protest. Unquote. Remarks on berthing, unberthing, loading, discharge. Wharf portable gangway or accommodation ladder. Placement time should coincide with all fast time. In the event that access time is considerably later than all fast, charterers deduct the elapsed time from laytime and also challenge the entire laytime calculation on grounds that a belated access affects the whole cargo operation. It is therefore important to prepare means of access well in advance and with due diligence in order the placement/securing of same to be carried out, spending the minimum possible time. The commencement and completion of hoseyas/arms connection or disconnection is essential. Usually the ship has to provide a ready-to-connect manifold and terminal personnel is responsible for the connection and disconnection. However, occasionally the ship personnel is assigned with the above task. It's worthwhile to state in SOF who undertakes connection/disconnection. Cargo valve's sealing remark may read as follows. Sea valve/overboard valve. Seals checked and found intact and in order prior to the commencement of loading. Traces of water or free water found into cargo. See relevant protest. Conditions under which measurements were taken. State whether vessel was even keel and upright, if rolling and pitching was affecting the readings. Description of conditions which eventually elongate the cargo operation like footing and sampling should be clearly recorded in the SOF. Note examples of relevant comments. Loading commenced affecting C, footing into tanks, 4 wings and 5 wings. Cargo samples taken for analysis. Awaiting for cargo analysis after footing. Cargo analysis results were positive and loading resumed at hours. Cargo analysis results were negative, therefore loading suspended until further instructions. Awaiting for tanks inspection. Awaiting shore readiness to commence loading or discharging. Note: if footing is considered as part of the loading operation. Master should be avoiding the following remarks unless impossible to overcome. Awaiting at the anchorage owner's instructions. Awaiting at the anchorage port authority's instructions. Awaiting tide. Awaiting pilots. That is awaiting sea/river/dock pilot. Awaiting tugs. Next, we'll refer to conditions beyond ship's control which may considerably affect ship's commercial operations. 1. Weather conditions. In almost all charter parties, time will not count in full as a result of waiting due to bad weather. The time is shared equally between charterers and owners. Port closures or restriction to berthing, cargo operations, and so on should be invoked under published conditions. For example, a specific port is unsafe to southeast strong winds and the port captain announces closure under the respective safety criteria. Subsequently, when delay attributed to weather, there should be an official announcement from the port authority. Then, and only then, bad weather comment may be recorded in the ESOF. Additionally, the master should keep in voyage file, readily available upon request, weather forecasts and facsimile charts, nav text bulletins, etc., which cover the period in question. 2. First come, first serve. This is the widely accepted practice in shipping. In the event that this rule is breached, master has the right to protest, providing substantial evidence. The collection of evidence in this case is important and need to be done in a systematic way. If, for example, you have visual contact, or at least electronic means, AIS radar, to monitor the traffic to and from the designated berth, you record the traffic and proceed with relevant inquiries to the agent, copying voyage orders recipients as well. Brokers, charterers. Recommended wording to the agent regard breach of first come rule. Quote, please advise reason why MT slow steamer takes our place to berth while she has arrived later than my vessel. Unquote. In continuation to the above, following entry in the ESOEF vessel anchored at On HR's Lanti, the following movements to and from designated berth were recorded or reported by the agents. MT slow steamer berthed on at hours later, unberthed on at hours later, and so forth. In case that berth monitoring from the vessel is not possible, then you require agent to provide the information as he's obliged to do. 3. Force majeure. In this case, there should be an official statement by the state or port authority identifying the nature and reason that force majeure has invoked. In the SOF, and in particular in the remarks section, you have to mention when force majeure declared and when lifted, along with a brief description that caused it. In case that berth monitoring from the vessel is not possible, then you require agent to provide the information, as he's obliged to do. 4. Free pratique. Due to its importance and frequent errors happening, let's remind a few points on this subject. Free pratique should be always requested prior arrival at the port, at least 24 to 48 hours in advance. If free pratique is not obtained upon ship's arrival, then master should tender protest. If free pratique directions included in either fixture recap or voyage orders, then master should strictly follow such directions. In any other case, master should be tendering protest if free pratique is not granted within 6 hours from ship's arrival. In some CP forms, that is BPVOY4, the free pratique provisions are rather strict. In this case, master should tender protest immediately upon arrival, if free pratique not granted, by cable, email, fax, telex, and repeat it by paper while processing the cargo and port documents, always inserting reference to the cable message. Time free pratique granted should be always mentioned in the SOF, as well as if protest has been tendered. Example of SOF entry: free pratique requested on at hours LT, granted on at hours LT, hours after ship's arrival, protest tendered to agent for handing over to authorities. Lastly, in ports where the agent advises that no free pratique is required and / or granted, you record free pratique time same as arrival time. When compile the statement of facts, keep the following rules. 1. Keep it simple. 2. Make clear who takes action. For example, quote, loading interrupted, shore order, loading resumed, shore order, unquote. 3. Leave no time gaps or delays. Describe reasons and who's the initiator. For example, quote, waiting shore, readiness, unquote. 4. All parties involved issuing their own statements should be agreeing on operational times. 5. Records in the statement of facts should be the same across the reports of all parties involved.